Celebrating the 10th anniversary of Iron-Blooded Orphans, we have our second IBO MG of the year and third one overall. The Master Grade Barbatos Lupus, the long-awaited sequel to the original MG Barbatos, which was quite well received but has its flaws in its frame. This kit boasting not only new parts for the armor and the weapons, this kit also improves upon the original IBO Gundam frame, creating an almost perfect kit that embodies the animalistic and just aura-fueled mobile suit that is the Barbatos Lupus. How does it do it? Grab some food and a drink and let's dive in. Released in November 2025 for an SRP of 7,150 yen, we have the MG Barbatos Lupus from Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. Looking at the box, we have a beautiful illustration by Morishita Naochika, and if you haven't heard of them, they did a lot of the box art for the Gundam we have nowadays. Many of the new releases have been by them, such as the MG Vidar, the HG Psycho Mark II, the Gallus J, and as you can see, they really don't miss. So if you aren't already following them on Twitter, I suggest checking them out. Getting back into the box art of this kit, it is just beautiful. I definitely want to weather this kit similar to how it is in this box art. The top of the box shows off the model kit doing the different poses along with the gimmicks that it has. The bottom has more photos of the kit along with that beautiful inner frame, which we will take a closer look at later. And here is what it would look like piled up in your backlog that is mysteriously growing every week. You don't know why. Opening up the box, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bags of runners, an advertisement for the expansion set, which I will cover when it arrives, and of course the manual. The manual has your typical manual stuff at the front. The front page is all about the lore of the Lupus. We then have the runner list, and as expected, this does come with a lot of unused parts from the original Gundam frame back in 2019. We have more instructions, then more lore stuff, and of course, you have the painting guide, along with one for the pilot figure of Mikazuki. So if you're a fan of painting those miniatures, this will be helpful. We then have some info about the frame and other gimmicks. Then some info on the weapons of this mobile suit and of course the pilot. Then following up, we have the decal guide, and at the back is just the painted model kit. For the runners, we have a total of 20 all-in polystyrene with a mix of typical Gundam colors, white, blue, red, yellow, with different shades of gray for the frame and weapons. We also get metallic plated silver pistons and metallic injection gold for the frame. Runners A to D are all labeled Gundam frame made in 2019, while runners E to F are also labeled Gundam frame but are from 2025, which will include the improvements of the frame similar to the Vidar. Then the rest of the runners are labeled Barbatos Lupus made in 2025. We do get some metallic foil stickers for the eyes and knees, but you will get clear parts for these, so these are optional. And also optional and not optimal are these sticker style decals, not water slides unfortunately, since this is a regular old MG. That's it for the contents of the box. Let's get to the build. Starting with the torso, the frame is pretty much one-to-one with the original MG Barbatos, except the waist connection. If you aren't familiar with the MG Gundam frames, they are an absolute treat to build. We also get a cockpit hatch gimmick, which is standard for Master Grade. This torso is definitely one of the more complex Master Grade torsos, as there are tons of moving gimmicks with the pistons and tons of packing detail. It would be a crime to not paint this all different metallics and maybe some silver dry brushing to really make it pop. Then putting on the armor, the great part about these IBO designs is that they still make sure to show off the frame, so all your hard work is still shown. So great construction so far. Next, we have the head, which is all brand new. The head frame is pretty simple, and we do get a fully color separated eye, which is always really good if you want to do some LED work or some fluorescent painting. The armor layers on easily. Despite having tiny pieces, none of them feel loose or finicky. I do have to mention that huge V-fin looks amazing. It's really impressive in this scale. Now for the arms, the frame is mostly identical with only a new forearm piece and the improvements to the shoulders, which the MG Vidar also previously did. The arms are pretty simple in construction overall. We get pistons for the biceps, and the armor itself is very nicely detailed and part separated. The impressive part is definitely the big shoulders where you have the Tekadan logo fully color separated, no stickers here, and it is just massive and has a lot of presence. The waist is mostly new parts, reusing some old frame for the skirts mainly. It contains some moving gimmicks like the hip pegs having a dropping mechanism. The armor themselves aren't too crazy. The front skirts and back skirts are simple but are detailed enough and have the frame backings as previously mentioned. The side skirts, or waist thrusters as they are called, are very nice and big with some great color separation along with a joint that allows them to move more easily, so a great looking waist. For the legs, I'd say around half of the pieces are new for the frame. Specifically, the knee joint is new and the feet include some notable improvements which I will get into depth later. Otherwise, the build experience is really unique. Even if you have built other MG frames, the IBO Gundam frames are really fun to build. Placing the armor is also very fun as they're all pretty huge, but also highly detailed as well and color separated. The feet as well have a lot of great moving parts and overall feels premium and solid despite having all those moving parts. One of the highlights of the build, to be sure. Now the backpack, which is actually more complex than you think if you just judge it by how it looks. It actually has a whole sub-arm gimmick where it can hold the maces, which is always like to see. It is accurate to the anime, accurate to the design. And if you're wondering, the backpack is also compatible with other Gundam frames as it connects the same way, so that's good for kit bash purposes. Now for the weapons, which you'd think would be more complex, but a lot of them are simple in construction, but they all look great. The sword mace is huge with minimal parts. The twin maces as well follow a similar construction style, but again, simple, but they all look great. The 200mm arm guns are a bit more complex as they have some moving gimmicks, but honestly, they could all fit into an HG type of build. But they don't look like HG accessories as they are still nicely detailed, the seams are hidden, and you'll have all the features that you would need for this master grade rendition. Overall, the build of this kit will be familiar if you've built the previous IBO MGs, but if you haven't, I highly recommend giving this a shot as it is one of the most fun and unique builds for a master grade. Even though this is my third time building the frame, it still feels entertaining and did not feel tedious at all. Stability-wise, the build is very solid, especially with the improvements to the inner frame, which I will check out right now. Okay, so this is the inner frame of the Barbatos Lupus, and it looks beautiful. It's really a shame that we only have 3 master grade IBO Gundams. This is something I don't mind Bandai milking at all, and I also don't mind building this over and over again. With all of these piston gimmicks and detail, this kit would look amazing painted in metallic or even some metallic dry brushing, which I did do for my Vidar whip. I painted it all in different colors. Check that video out once you finish this. Let's talk about the improvements of this kit over the original Barbatos frame. The legs have a new knee joint, and most notably, the feet ditches the original C-clip that the Barbatos used to have for a traditional peg sandwich type joint, which is great for stability as the original had a tendency to get loose over time. We also have a new waist joint, which some people had issues with the original Barbatos. I don't remember having them, but at least that's another problem solved. The torso is identical except the waist connection was changed in order to fit the new waist. For the arms, they are mostly the same, except the forearms are new. And the most notable improvement is the same thing as what the Vidar did. They changed the C-clip joint of the shoulders to be a different angle, and it is more enforced in order to avoid the shoulder issues that the original Barbatos had. That's all the improvements, but I do want to mention all the pistons of the frame if you aren't familiar with these MG IBO kits. We have moving pistons all around the kit. The ones here are the shoulders, one at the back of the neck, one at the bicep and elbow. Of course, these 2 at the waist, very iconic for an IBO kit. One at the back of the thigh and one at the heel. It's really one of the best inner frames ever by Bandai. Okay, that's enough glazing for the inner frame. Let's see it with the armor. This is the master grade Barbatos Lupus all built up according to the manual with no additional effort added yet. This kit looks freaking amazing, man. I'm already itching to make a custom painted build of it with some weathering. They really nailed the proportions and the amount of detail. Even if you aren't gonna paint this kit, I suggest doing some panel lining as it'll really make it pop. I cannot believe we finally have a Lupus in master grade form after 6 years. I'm a bit biased as the Lupus is my favorite Barbatos variant. It was one of my first high grades, so I have some personal connection to this design. Speaking of design, this mobile suit was designed by the amazing Ippei Gyobu, most known for being the mechanical designer of, well, Iron-Blooded Orphans, so you should thank him if you're a big IBO fan. He also did some other bangers like the Moon Gundam manga, so every design like the Moon Gundam, the Vargil, the Rick DJ, he also created. Oh, he also did some Witch from Mercury designs, specifically the Jeturk heavy industry mobile suits like the Schwarzette and the Darabalde. He is definitely one of the most prominent mechanical designers in Gundam. Let's compare this to the line art by Ippei Gyobu. It's definitely not a one-to-one depiction as they for sure did some redesigning for the model kit, but it definitely still captures the same animalistic demon design. Something same beast, different animal or whatever that means. It actually looks closer to the anime depiction. Either way, I think it looks good regardless. I don't think you'd be disappointed at all if you were a fan of the Lupus with how this kit looks. That being said, there are some glaring issues that this kit has aesthetics-wise. Specifically, we have some nasty seam lines here at the side skirts, a bit tricky to close, but personally, I would describe it and make it into a panel line. But more egregious is this seam line at the forearm. It's the same as the high grade. It's pretty ugly and will be a bit annoying to close as well, so probably I would scribe that as well as a panel line. I will show you guys how when I do make my custom build video, so stay tuned for that one. Another controversial thing that this kit has is that the fingers are not color separated, unlike the art and promotional images. I will go on a slight rant on why it's better that it's not color separated. I have two main arguments. Number one, color separated fingers will be more finicky and weak. If each fingertip is a separate piece, even for the fist, let's say there are 4 fingers combined, it would be a nightmare to work with. Unless they somehow engineer it to be more than just a simple peg, it is a break risk and also a loss risk. It will also weaken the grip, which is important as this kit has huge weapons, especially for the expansion set coming out in February. So it will just be a big hassle trying to balance everything out. Do you want it to be stronger or do you want it to be more detailed? Then my second argument is that painting it is just easier, without the need of an airbrush even. Just get some white paint markers or use a brush. You can easily paint it in like 10 minutes maximum. And you'll get mostly the same effect without having to worry about all the stability. So that's my take. For the Lupus, it's okay that it's not color separated. But for the Lupus Rex though, it should be color separated. They should find a way to make it not finicky, as it is very iconic for the Lupus Rex to have color separated fingers. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments below. Okay, thanks for listening to my TED Talk. Let's get back to the review. Besides those flaws, the kit still looks amazing. It is a great depiction of the mobile suit design, the details, the colors. It has so much presence along with its huge size. Speaking of which, let's talk size comparisons. The Lupus in lore is 19 meters, which makes it taller than the Barbatos at 18 meters. So in real life 1/100 scale, this should be 19 centimeters, but it is actually closer to 20, though that could be due to the V-fin. The head height is pretty much 19, with a little bit more depending on where you decide the head starts and ends. Here's a cat for scale. Here's it compared to the MG Barbatos. Thank you, Schizophonic 9. Here's it next to a 1/144 scale R78, which it just towers over. And even against a 1/100 R78 right here, it is bigger both in height and width. So this kit is just a monster in terms of self-presence, and it will definitely stand out in your collection. Let's talk accessories and gimmicks. This kit comes with 3 sets of hand options, the twin maces, the sword mace, the 2 200mm arm guns, and some adapters plus a 1/100 scale Mikazuki pilot figure. The hands are the swappable 4-finger type. We get a open hand, a holding fist, and a closed fist for both hands. For the twin mace, we obviously have 2 maces. They are pretty simple, they don't have any moving parts. To hold them onto the hand, there are slots for the fingers, and the kit holds it pretty well, no issues. When not in use, you can use these adapters that attach onto the backpack and you can snap the maces into the clip, no problem. However, that is not all, as the backpack of this kit has a sub-arm gimmick where you can unfold it and hold the maces for some more close combat pummeling. Both sides have this gimmick. Now for the big-ass sword mace, it doesn't have any moving parts as well, which is not surprising. In terms of size, it is longer than the already big mobile suit, but it isn't that heavy. So when you try and hold it onto the holding fist hands, the arm has no issue carrying it at all, so you can do whatever pose you'd want. When not in use, you can also store it the same way as the maces with the adapter at the backpack. Then we have the 2 200mm arm guns. They are nicely detailed. They have some articulation as you can rotate the barrel and slide it up and down. They connect to the back of the forearm via a peg. Then to make them active, you just slide them down and rotate the barrel. That's pretty much it for the arm guns. This is a master grade, so we get a pilot figure for those who want to paint him. Lastly, the action-based adapter, which is slots underneath the waist. It's an action-based adapter. It works well enough. That's it for the accessories. Technically, we are missing the Buster Sword, the grenade launchers, but those will come at a P-Bandai expansion set in the future. However, in terms of the lore, we are also technically missing the new longsword, the variable mace, and the railgun. Maybe a future expansion set as well in the future. I'm not gonna hate on this kit, not including everything that the Lupus comes with, because it does come with a lot of weapons. Even if they did, it'll end up costing like 10k yen, even more if they include everything. It's good that the main ones that it comes with are in the box, so I just wish that the Buster Sword set wasn't P-Bandai, but oh well, that's how Bandai be. For the articulation, the head is double jointed, so you get pretty good movement despite the collar getting in the way. The shoulders can swing forward and back pretty well along with the moving pistons there. A full 360 for the arm. The shoulders can swing individually. The sideways arm raise of this kit is great, more than 90 degrees. 360 at the upper bicep. A double jointed elbow bend, not fully because of how big the forearms are, but it's definitely more than enough. The hands are on pegs with rotation at the wrist and at the palm. The rotation is great at the waist, not 360 but more than enough. Good side to side at the torso with those moving pistons again. And the ab crunch of this kit is amazing, especially forward, but also backward is decent. The new waist joint can do some moves. The front skirts are individually articulated as expected. The side skirts are on a peg so they can rotate, and they also have some articulation so they can swing out. The back skirts are also individually movable. For the hips, we have a hip dropping mechanism giving us some great forward kicks, more than 90 degrees. Same thing for the back. It is also amazing. For the sideways leg raise, you can get a full split as the side skirts can move out of the way. Thigh rotation is not 360, but it's good enough for practical use. The knee bend is good as well, double jointed, and has a gimmick where the calf armor folds in so you can even get a full bend as much as the design would allow it. The ankle armor is articulated a little bit. The downward bend is great as well as the upward. The inward and outward rotation is also really good, nothing blocking the way. The toe claws are individually articulated. This armor at the heel can move, and of course we have some rotation at the ankles. That is not all, as the backpack has the sub-arm gimmick. It has many points of articulation, so you can get some poses with the sub-arms. Then the whole backpack can swing a bit. That's it for the articulation, and this kit passes with flying colors. There really isn't a weak point. It's very posable considering how bulky it is. You can definitely recreate the poses of the box art and the anime. Ground posing is great with those ankles. They are an improvement over the original MG Barbatos. I still recommend an action base as it really unlocks the articulation points, especially with the sub-arms at the back. You can really make this kit pop. Great articulation overall expected from a master grade. Okay, let's summarize this with my likes and dislikes. My first like is that this kit is just aura-forming. It looks spectacular. As a fan of the Lupus, I have no qualms about the proportions, the details. It looks beautiful. It's also quite big. It has great presence, though it is not perfect, which leads to my first real dislike, which is that the seam lines on the side skirt and the forearms are a bit ugly. Not a deal breaker, it is always fixable, but out of the box, it is quite an eyesore. So I suggest closing or turning it into a panel line. My second like is that the accessories that it comes with all work well. You can store them all when not in use, and at the same time, none of them are too heavy or loose, so when you carry them and make all the poses, it has no problems holding them. However, my second dislike, which I'm gonna put an asterisk, isn't really a dislike personally, but I have to mention it, is that the accessories are technically not complete. You're gonna need the expansion set, which is P Bandai, but that is a trade-off, as if it did come with all of that in the box, this kit might be too expensive. I just wish the expansion set was a regular release, but oh well, what can we do? What it comes with out of the box right now is good for the price. You're not really going to be disappointed at all, so overall a minor nitpick. My next point is that the kit is very poseable, and with all the accessories, the sub-arm gimmicks, this kit is really fun to pose with. You have so many options both on the ground and on an action base. Just an absolute joy to work with. And lastly, the build experience is also fun. In general, the IBO frames are always a treat to work with. Not a second of this build felt tedious at all. So is this kit a buy? Absolutely. Unless you completely hate and abhor the Lupus, you should get this. The kit only has one real flaw that's easily fixable, but most importantly, this kit hits every important aspect of a model kit, in my opinion, very well. The experience building it is fun, it looks amazing, the gimmicks are great, and it is posable. So any type of modeler would enjoy this no matter what their priorities are. And for me, I'm definitely gonna work on my custom on this kit, so stay tuned for that video. What are your guys' thoughts on this kit? Are you gonna buy it? Which other designs from IBO do you want to see in Master Grade? If you found this helpful, feel free to like and subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. And as always, thank you for your time. Bye!